It changed my life. It really did. I'm trying not to get emotional, but that's how much it has changed things for me.
Welcome to the Healing ME CFS podcast by Oxaloacetate CFS. Today we hear Amanda's inspiring healing story. Through years of ME CFS symptoms robbing her the ability to work and even think clearly, Amanda never lost her hope or her grit. Finally, with the help of oxaloacetate, Amanda has reclaimed her health and her life. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope you appreciate Amanda's story as much as we do. Be sure to leave a comment for Amanda, and for more free ME CFS resources, subscribe here and visit oxaloacetatecfs.com. Enjoy.
Can you share a little bit more about your journey with ME CFS? Like, when were you first diagnosed?
I wasn't diagnosed until 2021, but I started getting sick in 2017. And it just took me a long time to figure out what it was. And I can't really pinpoint whether it came from, I think around that time I had mono, but I also had a lot of hormonal issues like endometriosis and stuff. So I can't tell exactly which one triggered it. But yeah, it took a long time to figure out and to get an official diagnosis.
Yeah. What are the biggest challenges that you see with your ME CFS?
I think in the beginning it was the most challenging to get somebody to take it seriously because, being tired all the time is common, or it has so many symptoms that are very common with other illnesses that it. I did clinical trials, I've tried holistic treatments, like thousands and thousands of dollars to try to figure out like how can I get better? And thinking for the longest time this is just a temporary thing and I'm going to find the right thing and then I'm going to be better and I'm going to be back to my normal healthy self. I was a very athletic person. I was like a multitasking fool. Like I I worked a lot, I lived a lot, and I was very active. So it was very challenging. And coming from a background where your worth, she's such a stinker.
So cute.
Your worth is based on your productivity. And so that was really hard for me to now see that I couldn't accomplish basic tasks like around the house even, or I couldn't basically take care of myself. It was really challenging to learn to live with this new normal and be okay with it because it was very, I struggled with depression and I spent a lot of time trying to work on that because that was made much, much worse when you just don't feel like you're yourself and you're stuck. I don't know if that answered your question, really. I kind of went off on a tangent there.
No, it did. I'm so sorry to hear that. And that it's just a horrible disease. And to just not feel like yourself is not okay. My little sister has endometriosis, so I'm sorry
Oh,
to hear that.
I'm sorry that she has that because it is,
Pretty
it's
awful.
terrible. I ended up having a hysterectomy in 2020. I thought maybe that would make things better if this was like a hormonal issue. But even then, I felt better in a lot of ways, but the fatigue didn't go away. And
Yeah. And so how did you finally figure out that it was CFS, ME CFS?
I one of the good things that actually came from COVID was so much new research and so much more information about because so many people were dealing with long COVID and they go hand in hand. And I found that I saw this TV program about this doctor who was talking about treating people with long COVID and ME CFS. And he wasn't far from my area, so I got in contact with him and I did clinical trials because he's done clinical trials, but his focus is mostly based on stimulant treatments. But so he officially diagnosed me in 2021 and also diagnosed me with ADHD, which based on his research, ME CFS is really just untreated ADHD. Makes sense in some ways. Your brain is so hyperactive, it's exhausting the rest of your body. But I felt like when I was on the treatment protocol with stimulants, I just felt like I was crashing harder. I just felt so much worse. And I really tried it for a long time. And I just, I felt like in some ways it was helping, but it wasn't really, it still wasn't fully getting rid of the fatigue or the brain fog. And I could immediately tell when it wore off.
Oh, wow.
So it
Yeah.
was like a couple good hours and then crash hard.
Oof.
So it
Ugh.
just, it wasn't, just wasn't very, yeah, healthy. You're constantly like pushing your body to do something. And then the crash was so much worse. Like it would affect me mentally and emotionally too. It was so I stuck with it for a long time. I thought this has got to be the answer. This guy's written books about it. This has to be the right, this is the only way to go. But then I just found that I started having to do my own research and be my own advocate and figure out this is really not maybe the reason why I have this. And then I just started to try other avenues. And I think when I first heard about, is it oxaloacetate? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, oxaloacetate.
Yeah. When I first, because I joined all these support groups and these forums and to try to figure out what are other people doing to help with this and is it really something I can recover from? Or so I heard about oxaloacetate from these groups. And at the time I was doing supplement or stimulants, so I recognize you can't do a lot of other things with stimulants, and the cost was really scary. So I and then I forgot about it for a long time. And then after I had stopped doing the stimulants and was trying to find some other avenues, then it popped up again, and then I'm like, I should look more into this. And sorry, my cat's scratching. So that's how I kind of got reestablished with it and did more research about it.
And so, what prompted you to first try it then? And were you skeptical at first?
Yeah, everything. And I had gotten so numb. I had started, I guess I had tried so many things that I had got my hopes up. And so I had stopped getting my hopes up with things. I'm just going to it like this is not going to work, but I'm going to do this because that will rule this thing out. And that's how I started to approach all kinds of treatments. I just stopped being hopeful. I stopped expecting that it was actually going to work. I just did it like I'm going to try this because this is the next thing to try. And I felt like that was a lot better for my mental health. But I'm very skeptical about everything because I had tried so many different things. And I initially I found out about Benagine,
Yeah,
the
Benadine.
yeah, so then when I was doing research about your company and I was looking into, okay, how can I just try this without buying a full bottle? Because if it doesn't work, that's like a big waste of money. So I got the lower dose Benadine.
Yeah.
And I took a couple, and then I'm like, okay, according to this study, I could take these doses. And so then I tried it at the higher doses. I'm like, okay, this really helps.
Mm.
Then I felt better about buying a bottle because then I had tried it at least because it's scary to put out that much money and then something not work. And that happens often, like with different treatments or
Oh,
options.
sorry to hear that. Yeah, I know it's expensive. It's just the amount of oxaloacetate in each of the bottles, but we're trying to figure out a way to get the price lower or get the price. We're hoping that someday it can become a drug and so it can get on insurance and that's like the ultimate goal. But right now, I'm still doing all those studies. But can you talk about taking it and what did it do and what did it feel like? How long have you been taking it, Amanda?
I've been taking it now since,
Oh, sorry.
it's okay, April? Yeah, so I think April will be a year.
Amazing. And what do you feel like with it? Can you feel an immediate difference or what does it feel like? What are you able to do now?
I first started with like the 500 milligram dose, and I didn't really feel like that was doing anything, but then I tried the 1,000, and I think the first time I did 1,000, it was I was almost in tears. It was so different. It was like all of a sudden I had this energy and I could think clearly for the first time in so long. Even with stimulants, I didn't feel like I could fully see through the fog. I had such trouble formulating my thoughts, basic words. It was really a struggle. And I feel like this is the first thing that has truly helped me with my mental clarity. And I can concentrate better. I can do creative things again. I really had not thought that would ever come back. I really had stopped hoping that would change because I just assumed that this is the new normal and this is how things are going to be now. But it was truly amazing.
Oh, that's wonderful. And do you continue to feel that way after a year? And
Yeah, I do. And I feel I can tell a little bit when it starts to wear off, but it doesn't fully go back to that bad fog. I feel like even after a few hours, even after by the evening, I take it in the morning, by the evening, I feel like I can still communicate well. I can still mostly gather my thoughts, except when I'm really fatigued, then I struggle still. But yeah, I feel like it still has helped me just the same as when I started taking it. And that's also something that is tough for me because I seem to have this problem where I start taking something for a while and then it doesn't work after a few months or a year or whatever. It seems like my body gets immune to it or something, and then I just don't see the benefits. But I have not seen that yet with this. And I'm really like, let's hope that continues because it just feels like when you take a lot of caffeine or different things, you feel like it's forcing your body to make energy that it doesn't have. And this actually, I don't feel that. I feel like my body needs this. So it feels like a natural energy. It doesn't feel like, doesn't make my heart race like it's trying to pump blood faster. It doesn't feel artificial, like false energy. I don't know if that makes sense, but
yeah,
I
that's
feel like that's what a
amazing.
lot of energy things feel like. They feel like false energy, just like a band-aid, but this really feels like it's what my body needs. And it just naturally, I surprisingly, I have side effects to everything. And this, I have nothing. I have no side effects.
Wow. Not even like a stomach ache if you don't, you eat
Mm-mm.
it with food, you have it with food or,
No,
oh, wow.
no, and I don't even take it. I take it in the morning and I don't eat lunch. I don't even eat breakfast, really. I have like tea or coffee in the morning and then I don't eat it until maybe 11. But yeah, and when I've read some people are having that kind of side effect with acid reflux and stuff, and I have acid reflux. All kinds of things give me acid reflux. This, I have zero side effects. And that's so shocking to me because I'm so sensitive to everything. But
Wow, that's amazing. I'm so glad you're feeling so much better. And like for a year too.
yeah,
We'll have to keep checking in with you and just making sure you're feeling okay. Because we want this obviously to help and help others.
yeah, and I'm so happy to like share my story because if it can help anybody else like in any way, I'm so happy about that because I wish I would have known about it and I wish I would have started it sooner because it would have really helped a lot.
Yeah. And I think something that we're struggling with as a company just is we have the clinical trials and the data, but it's unbelievable just because, like you said, you've tried all these other things and lost hope. And they're just, I think, like you said, COVID was almost not a good thing, but just the fact that there's so much more research on fatigue and we're able to get this research done and universities want to partner with us on this. But I think now our big push is how can we get this out into the CFS community and like actually tell people that this works and this could help as opposed to like other things that just other protocols that just aren't as effective or aren't
Mhm.
working. So thank you for sharing your story. I think this is so helpful. I think like hearing other people be able to hear your story, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I think that more people should know about it. I feel like even if people are hesitating to spend the money to do it, I think that they should try it. And if you have to at least give it a try because it changed my life. It really did. I'm trying not to get emotional, but that's how much it has changed things for me because I'm back to work now. I feel like I couldn't even think straight. I couldn't read. I couldn't study. I couldn't pray. I couldn't anything. And I feel like although I still have underlying fatigue, it's so much more tolerable and more manageable. And with pacing and the other things that we learn to figure out how to work with our body instead of against it, it's really been a lifesaver.
Yeah.
So
Thank you so much, Amanda. This has been so helpful. And then the only other question I have for you is which doctor were you working with so I can reach out to them and talk about
I
our product?
yeah. And my doctors, I have a psychiatrist that I work with that I
Mm,
told her about your products. And because I wanted to make sure like it wasn't going to mess with anything that I'm doing as
yeah,
far as my
good.
depression management and all that. But none of the doctors don't know a lot about a lot of the new things that are being studied. And so I sent her all of the information, the clinical trial information, and she's the one I've mostly been talking to about, but my primary care doctor knows about it too.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah. My psychiatrist, and even just this last time I saw her, she asked me again, what is that stuff called again that you're taking? Because I think that's really helping you. And I'm like, it is. It
Oh,
really
that's
is.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can send you her information if you want
Oh, okay.
the
Yeah, that would
Instagram.
be amazing. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Yeah, are there any questions that you have that I can help answer or anything else you'd like to just plug if we're able to use your video or testimonial? Is it okay if we use this video?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
you cut my cat out of
Oh.
it. Her little shenanigans.
I think
Uh,
that just adds to it.
yeah, it's real life. It's real life. I did mention before that I'm considering trying to do a dose again in the afternoon because I'm really curious if I tried it maybe for a week, if it would be any different. Do you find that most people stick to the 1,000 milligrams?
I think it just depends on the person, but definitely from what we saw in the clinical trials, that was the dosage that the researchers developed and tried, and that was what worked in the trials. But then we've also seen people take more, we've also seen people take a lot less. And it just depends on the person, really. Yeah, but so definitely talk with your primary care doctor and make sure
Mhm.
that will work with everything that you're doing with your depression meds and everything
Yeah.
before you try anything new.
I'm always following like these forums and different groups and Reddit and all these things, about ME CFS and
Mhm.
oxaloacetate. And I'm finding that it's so varied what works for people or what one person said they're on like 3,000 milligrams a day and they're fully functional working.
Wow, I
So
hadn't heard that.
that's why I'm considering doing that and seeing what a difference that might be maybe after some time. I feel like almost immediately I noticed a difference from taking the 1,000 milligrams. I have a few times tried to take 500 again in the afternoon, but I didn't notice the difference. But I might
Okay.
try to. I'm also not good at keeping notes of what I did, and then
Yeah.
I forget what I tried and things like that.
Well, you seem like you have so much energy right now just talking to me and
I
being able to
waited.
go back to work and like being creative. Sorry, you said,
I waited to take it until an hour before I met with you, so it would be
okay.
kicking in
Yeah,
because
I can see that energy.
I feel like my most self that I have felt in years. I'm really an energetic and like happy, like lively personality. So I feel like I get a lot of that back with this stuff. I really feel like that. So
That's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. And Amanda, please reach out if you have any other questions or like ever want to have a comment or just want to talk again. Like, really happy to jump on a call anytime.
Yeah, and if you need anything else from me or if I can help you in any way, I'm absolutely no problem doing that. I truly feel like more people need to know about this, and I'm happy to help in whatever way I can.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time today and speaking with me. I know it's emotional and like I really appreciate getting to talk to you.
Thank you to Amanda for sharing her story, and thank you for listening to the ME CFS Healing Podcast by Oxaloacetate CFS. For more free ME CFS resources like guided meditations, clinical trial data, and ME CFS research news, please visit oxaloacetatecfs.com. We hope you have a great day.